Hello there, and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Update, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest to asylum seekers and those who want to stay current on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
a federal appeals court is allowing the Biden administration to continue enforcing its tough asylum ban policy while the government appeals a judge's order striking it down. A U.S. Border Patrol agent was charged with bribery for allegedly offering forged immigration documents to a migrant for $5,000. The body of an unidentified drowned man was found in the barrier of buoys in the Rio Grande River, which was installed by the state of Texas, raising further objections to the state's controversial efforts to keep migrants out. 2 Florida criminal cases resulted in multi-year prison sentences and multi-million-dollar fines for immigration fraud related to an immigration investment program and harboring undocumented workers. And New York City has run out of shelter space for migrants arriving from the border. So Mayor Adams says localized outdoor sleeping will be unavoidable despite objections.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. It's my pleasure to bring you asylum and immigration reform updates each week, right here on the Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to the news. First up,
President Biden's asylum ban is back in force, if only temporarily. A federal appeals court has allowed the Biden administration to continue enforcing its tough asylum policy on the southern border for at least several more weeks, while government lawyers appeal a judge's order striking it down. In May, the Biden administration put in place the new rules for asylum seekers that presume most migrants who illegally cross from Mexico or who show up at a border checkpoint without scheduling an appointment after having neglected to apply for asylum in countries they transited en route to the United States are ineligible for asylum. Various groups sued to prevent the new policy from being enforced. At the end of July, a federal judge called that new policy contrary to law because it violated existing federal statutes and international treaties that require the United States to allow anyone crossing the border to request asylum. The decision by the appeals court on Thursday extended said the Biden administration should be allowed to continue enforcing its new asylum policy for as long as it takes for the appeals court to rule. It's unclear when the appeals court will make a decision.
And next up, for update number 2.
In another example of American immigration authorities going rogue, a U.S. Border Patrol agent has been charged with bribery after allegedly offering an undocumented immigrant, a Mexican and El Salvadoran citizen, immigration benefits. The agent reportedly offered forged immigration documents, papeles, for a $5,000 fee. At the processing center where this took place, officials interviewed the migrant and discovered that she was missing $500 that she had entered with, it turns out, was paid as a bribe to the Border Patrol agent. The migrant presented officials with phone records of a blocked number, later identified as belonging to the agent, who had contacted her about purchasing immigration documents. The next day, federal officials recorded the agent's call discussing the transaction. The agent allegedly accepted a $500 bribe and facilitated the migrant's illegal entry into the United States.
All right, time for our third immigration update.
Sad news from the border. The body of an unidentified man was found in the floating barrier of buoys in the Rio Grande River near Eagle Pass, Texas, which forms the border between Mexico and the United States. Texas officials believe the man drowned upstream and floated into the buoys. The body was found on the Mexican side of the barrier and was retrieved by Mexican officials. This incident has raised further objections to the state of Texas's installation of the floating buoy barrier, a controversial measure initiated by Governor Greg Abbott to deter illegal crossings from Mexico. The Mexican government, voicing its objections, stated the buoy barrier infringes on their sovereignty and expressed concern over the safety of migrants due to such policies. The buoy barrier has reportedly made rescue efforts more challenging for border agents. Governor Abbott's other measures, like Operation Lone Star, have also been criticized. Under this program, migrants entering private Texas lands are arrested and charged with criminal trespassing. Recently, men traveling with children have been arrested, separating families, which marks a shift from previous practice. Amid growing disapproval of the state of Texas's actions, the Eagle Pass City Council revoked the state police's permission to make arrests in a city park. A federal lawsuit demanding removal of the buoy barrier is pending, with a ruling expected soon.
And moving right along, update number 4.
2 separate Florida-based cases saw hefty sentences handed to violators of immigration-related programs. A prison term of 65 months was given to a developer involved in the EB-5 immigrant investor program. This individual used his failed Palm Beach hotel project to defraud more than $30 million from 61 Chinese investors and attempted to defraud TD Bank and JP Morgan Chase Bank. The EB-5 immigration program provides green cards for immigrants who invest a specific amount of money in an approved project, usually in real estate. The second case, located in Florida's Key West, involved a group of migrants from the Republic of Georgia operating staffing agencies. These agencies employed undocumented workers for hospitality roles and avoided paying millions in federal taxes. The lead defendant, identified as the bookkeeper of the agencies, pleaded guilty to harboring undocumented workers and obstructing federal tax collection. She has been ordered to repay $8.5 million in federal taxes and serve a 3-year prison sentence. 2 of her colleagues were also sentenced, one for 18 months with an order to repay $16,000 in unpaid income taxes, and the other for 4 months. These sentences serve as significant consequences for white-collar immigration crimes.
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams said the city has run out of indoor shelter space to house the influx of migrants arriving from the southern border. As a result, Adams warned that scenes of migrants sleeping outdoors will become more common, though he wants to localize where migrants can sleep to certain areas of the city. Images emerged this week of migrants waiting in long lines and sleeping outside the Roosevelt Hotel, which serves as the city's intake center run by the company DocGo. The city gave DocGo a $432 million no-bid contract to assist with the migrant crisis, even though the company has faced criticism for busing migrants upstate and allegedly misleading them. Adams defended DocGo, saying they've done good work, and any issues seem limited to a couple bad employees. Advocates criticized Adams, saying that having migrants sleep on streets is cruel and violates laws. With 90,000 migrants arriving in NYC and no more indoor shelter space, Adams warned the situation may get worse still. Adams called on the federal government to allow migrants to legally work in the U.S., hoping this will help the migrants stabilize their situation and also boost the local economy.
And that wraps up this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. That number is 713-352-1593. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.